Hi and welcome to what I believe is the very first Australian unboxing of the new Leica M240 model. Here we have the beautiful presentation of the new Leica box, which is a little bit smaller and different shaped than the previous M models. On the side here we're indicating here that we have the silver model, which is silver chrome. And let's get the unboxing going. Well, there you go, like a convertible, it opens up, quite similar to the first unboxing that we saw of the Leica X1 camera. And we open this up here, it looks like we have magnetic strips holding the two parts open. And it looks like we have three sections. Assume that this is the camera, which we'll keep to the side for a moment. That's for very lucky last. We have the first section here, which I believe to be the, what we have is the test certificate, which proves the quality assurance of this product, hand signed by someone very important at Leica. Keep that to the side. Of course we have the instruction manual, and I believe it starts off in German and English is at the back. Next, we have warranty and guarantee information by Leica. And then information about, of course, Lightroom, which comes included with this product. Keep that to the side now. Next up, we have a nice little pouch here with, wow, a few nice little Leica bags. I assume that this might be the nice new thick battery, the 1800 milliamp battery that the Leica includes with the M240. The previous batteries in the Leica M's, the M8, the M9 and M9P and monochrome were the same battery that lasted very little time, more so somewhere around the 200 images. This I'm hoping for around 1,000 images, which will bring it very, very comparatively close to your typical Nikon and Canon Pro cameras. So very excited about this battery. Next up, in the second of three pouches, is a nice new battery charger. It indicates 80% charge, and I guess it will be full charge. I'll assume it's going to be flashing when it's actually charging. We have a figure 8 port here, as well as your DC input for charging in the car. Now to get this battery into the charger, obviously it would be contacts first, and just push down like so, instead of doing your typical push down and slide like the old battery. And then I guess just push up on the contacts and remove. Nice and simple, effective. Thank you, Leica. Thirdly, we have your typical cables, figure 8 cables for different regions. So it's nice of Leica to include that. And then of course we have the DC input, which is for your car charging. So you can charge the battery on the go. The great thing about the Leicas, of course, is that they have an external charger. So you can be using the camera with one battery, charging with the other. So really, really nice little touches here for Leica to be upgrading the packaging and supply of the camera. Which leads us now to the camera. The camera comes in a nice little box, presentation box like this. Once we open the box, we can see that it comes wrapped in a nice plastic, nicely well protected in foam, so you know that this camera is going to come nice and in great condition. Open up that plastic, put that away, and there we have it, guys. The Leica M240 in the chrome finish. Beautiful looking camera. You got some nice leather here. Relatively grippy. I wouldn't say it's the most grippy. I really like the one on the Leica M monochrome best, to be honest with you. But the back here has a large, I believe a 3-inch LCD, and I'm really excited to try that out. The buttons on the back are quite flat, but so far they seem to be quite responsive, which is great. We have a silver dial in the back here for navigation of the menu, and also another dial here for adjustments. Now, the great thing about the chrome model is that the chrome dial here matches the chrome body. I believe on the black model it actually is chrome, and then you've got the black, so the actual navigation button and dial kind of stands out a little bit too much. So I really like this chrome model a little bit better in that regard. Now, the top plate pretty much looks identical to previous M's. You have your lock switch with single and continuous, and then of course your self-timer. And you also have a video recording button on top as well. And you also, of course, have the hot shoe protector cover, which now has a little lock on there as well, which you push down to remove. And of course, now we have these little contacts here that allow us to put an electronic viewfinder on there, which will enable us to do live view and focus peaking and look at your images through the viewfinder, which will be interesting. I've never done that before, but it basically puts this camera into a realm where it's competing against digital SLRs and Micro Four Thirds, Sony NEX, and cameras like that. So very big step for Leica to make. It's probably the biggest and most single advancement that they've made, besides inclusion of video into their rangefinder cameras since they were made. Okay, so we're going to throw this battery in, and I want to give this camera a little bit of a test run really quickly. So my assistant bring me my Nocton, my Voigtlander Nocton 35mm 1.2. This is the lens that I swear by, mind you, and I'm going to go to say that it is pretty much a better lens than any fast 35mm lens available for the Leica M. And for those that are wondering why, besides the fact that it's heavier and bigger, the advantages are really that it's great against the sun, against shooting against strong light sources. It barely flares at all, mind you, with the filter off. It has a fantastic smooth rendering and sharpness and detail and clarity and character is very, very similar to the Simulux, but just maybe that little bit smoother. So I really, really like that lens. Now, putting on the camera, of course it's silent, nothing, no beeps come on, nothing sounds. I'm going to test the shutter for the first time. Nice little click there. Fast shutter speed of 500th of a second. So it's not the same sound as you would hear from the Leica M film cameras, but it is certainly a step forward. We're not hearing the click and then we're hearing that film advancement chunk of a noise. I would really have liked Leica to include the film advance lever. I don't know why, but maybe I'm just being a little nostalgic, but I miss it ever since I went from the Leica MP to the Leica M8. I've always missed that film advance lever. It also allows me to rest my thumb on it. Instead of going for your typical thumbs up, they've actually included their own thumb grippers here as well. So there's a little bit of a grip. I'd probably still look to include the thumbs up on this, possibly, but it's better than nothing. It's better than what it was before. And just looking through the camera here, it appears that you've got some really nice bright frame lines here. And the great thing about the frame lines is that when you point it towards a strong light source, the frame lines actually increase in brightness so that you can actually see them better. And that's a really, really nice little addition. And that happens with the red frame lines, and also the ability when you change to white, they also work just as effectively. And that's really, really impressed me about this camera. So far, I guess you can tell that I'm pretty impressed with the M240. It really is a great camera. It looks great, it feels great, just like the previous M's. But most importantly, I personally needed 4 key areas to be addressed in the previous monochrome M9, M9P cameras. Now, while I was quite happy with the image quality, more importantly, the camera itself kind of frustrated me in 4 areas. The first area was the shutter button. The shutter was actually quite noisy. It had this like little winding noise after each file, after each shot was taken, and it was quite annoying. The processing speed was extremely slow, which obviously led on to the LCD being very small as well, and reviewing pictures took quite a while. And because of the low resolution of the LCD screen, it was very difficult to analyze whether or not you're getting shots in focus or not when you're previewing your images. This new camera not only does it have the ability to view images at a very crisp rate because it has a much higher resolution LCD, but it has focusing features that allow you to check how well you're focusing, including focus peaking through live view and through the LCD, the electronic viewfinder that goes on top. So really, all I need left is battery life. Battery life on the other cameras, I would have to carry 6 batteries around, and I would fly through those batteries. And I'm not a trigger happy photographer, but really the battery life really was quite poor, especially when you're reviewing images. This camera promises to have a much better battery life. I'm expecting one of these batteries to equate to about 4 or 5 Leica M or M9P M monochrome batteries. So I'm really excited to take this camera out. I think that the camera itself, like I said before, is going to be a much better performing camera in regards to handling, speed, and just operational use. And that's what's more important to me, probably a little bit more than image quality. I'm at a point now where in my photographic career I'm very happy with any kind of camera that's coming out, and while cameras are always constantly going under scrutiny and image quality is always being analyzed, it's very important to note that it is not the camera that takes the picture, it is the photographer that takes the picture. And a great photo with an average image file is a lot better than a great image file by a poor picture. With the Leica M240's impressive array of features, it's very, very easy to be excited about what this camera can potentially do. It has a lot of great new features, which I haven't gone into everything in detail today because it really is an unboxing that I'm doing here. One thing was including the focus aid button on the front. I'd like to see what that does, but at the end of the day, I don't want to talk too much about what this camera can do. I'd rather go out and see what it can do for myself. I like to see if my skills can match the camera's impressive array of features, and if we can combine together to get some great photographs. So I look forward to sharing my opinion with you next time on whether or not this camera, the Leica M240, truly delivers. Thanks for watching.